Main Street with your host, Russell. Each week, Russell takes an in-depth look at another exciting business. To get in on the discussion, call toll-free 888-565-1470. Now, let's talk business. Your business. With today's guest, here's Russell.
Hey guys, welcome to New Business on Main Street. My name is Teddy Raphael, and we have Mr. Russell Johnson.
Right here.
And I'm so excited. Last week we were talking to Mr. David-T-Rosen about crowdfunding and how, he created loyalty cards, which, again, thank you for my flights and all my travel. But we had to bring him back because everything he was talking about was so amazing, so exciting, and I love his co-op 50-50 idea. So, Hi, David. Can you hear us?
I can. How are you?
Awesome. Good. How are you?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic, even though I think it's -3 or -4 here right now.
Oh my God. Our producer just choked. It's like 80 degrees here. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I know. Remember, I'm in Toronto, Canada.
That's true. At least you got the fires going. At least you got like the nice, kind of chill. We're still sweating over here.
I'm comfortable.
Good. So what's been going on these past 2 weeks? What is happening in the crowdfunding world, and how's your projects going?
Well, the projects are going great. As I mentioned the last time we were speaking, thank you for having me on once again. It's a pleasure to be on. As I was saying the last time we were speaking, I just pre-released a project called 50-50, co-op 50-50. That is it's taken off like I expected it to. It's helping a lot of people around the world. And it's truly needed, and it's really doing a great job right now.
That's amazing. And I was looking up more on Co-op 50-50 on the website. And last week, I have to admit, I was very confused on how it worked. And I looked on the website, and you have this infograph that I wish I had taken a picture of because it was so interesting that it shows how you say on your website that the givers can become receivers. And this infograph shows how it works. And it's not just two people working together to create a network, both giving to both of them. It's everyone. It's a chain effect of giving and of crowdfunding. And it is an amazing concept that I just want to retouch on. And if you could explain it one more time this week for our listeners, because, again, last week, I don't think I quite grasped how incredible that idea was.
Yeah, and thank you for bringing that up, because I like when you talk your questions. And yeah, it's a beautiful system because it really is. It's a teamwork. I like to call it cooperative crowdfunding, and it's really a team system. So it's not just one or two people helping one another. It's like basically everybody around the world is helping one another. And co-op 50-50 is really just 3 steps, and it's unlike any other crowdfunding platform that's out there. The 3 steps are simple. It's register and choose your donation level. Like in all crowdfunding platforms, you give a donation. In this particular case, you give a donation as well. And unlike other crowdfunding platforms, in this case, that donation that you give goes to help 2 people. And because we're a cooperative, and because like every other crowdfunding platform, if you need to or want to raise funds for whatever purpose it is that you want to raise funds, then you share your crowdfunding system, your crowdfunding platform with those that are part of the team. And the best thing to do is to share it with a couple of people that you care about. And when they make a donation, then that makes you even in your crowdfunding giving. And when they help others, then those other people make a donation to the people that they've invited. And then those people also make a donation to you, turning you from a giver into a receiver. And the beautiful thing about that is that because we are team crowdfunding, a cooperative crowdfunding system, unlike other systems where one person raises all of the money and one person gets all of the money, and then the people that give, they feel good about the giving that they've done, but at the end of the day, they may have something that they need to raise funds for. That's where we come in, co-op 50-50, because we, when you give, set you up with your very own crowdfunding platform so that you can raise all the funds that you want and need for whatever purpose that is. And just to say one more thing on that, unlike other crowdfunding platforms, if you raise, say, $25,000, you've got to have a lot of friends and you've got to do a lot of work. In co-op 50-50, by simply registering and giving a donation of $25 and helping two others to do the same. And like in any other business, you have duplication. Having that duplication process continue, that can actually add up to you receiving over $50,000 in a mere 34 days. And then continuing along from that point forward, where you can be receiving from now until forever because you did the great thing of first giving, then sharing, and then helping others to do the same. And it's a great concept. It's a great platform. It's been very successful for 20 years now.
That's amazing. And it doesn't just have to be an organization, correct? You were talking about how it can help homeless people, how it can help people with health issues, specific people, instead of having to find a huge organization that you believe in.
Exactly. Like, for example, in crowdfunding, when I created it in 2002, my main purpose was to help those that are most in need. And if you look around right now, especially in the United States of America, and it was just on the news today, over one out of every five, over 20%, 20%, think about it. There's 330 million people in the United States of America. 20% of those people right now do not know, as we are doing this show right now, they do not know where their next meal is going to come. There are millions, tens of millions of people that are on the verge of losing their home. A system like this has helped people this system has helped people that are in dire situations, including myself. And we plan to help millions more over the next coming months.
And I was going to say, you were talking about on your website how when you built this from a loan from one of your friends. I mean, you built Co-op 50/50 and crowdfunding from the ground up completely and brought it up to where it is today, which is absolutely incredible.
Right. Well, not only did I create the system, as I say, I created the first system in 2001. And in 2001, I was homeless when I created this system. And by 2003, I was a multimillionaire. I was on top of the world. In 2012, I ended up getting sick. By 2008, I was homeless again. And I got my health back. And within months, I had, regained everything that I had lost, and we had helped over close to 100,000 people in 4 months. So if you have the right system, then great things can work. And speaking about the right system, Russ and I were talking earlier today about some systems that are out there, and I'll let Russ bring that to life. But it was kind of interesting the conversation we had earlier today.
Yeah, you do have a great system. The thing I wanted to talk about, you have Kickstart, which is up to this point the largest out there throughout the world, and then Indigo, and then a ton of others. But you started before Kickstart, is that right? Is that what I hear?
Yeah, I created it. Without me creating it, then there is no Kickstarter, there is no Indigo, there is no GoFundMe.
Right. But what I was reading, I have this book, Step by Step Crowdfunding here, that when you kickstart, they take about 8%, and so does Indigo, and some others take up to 15% in terms of administrative cost. Yours, there is no taking of administrative costs. Is that right?
No, there's as a matter of fact, right now, 100% of the donations go to the participants. That's you and I. So if you're participating, and it really is a remarkable system. And those systems actually end up taking considerably more than the 8% that you stipulated there. And that they also take a long time before the funds are delivered to the person. Whereas with my system, and we not only, you can also raise funds the exact same way that you can in Indiegogo or GoFundMe or Kickstarter or any of these other ones, because we do allow one-time donations. So if you don't have a reason to raise funds, but you found somebody that you want to help, you can make a one-time donation of 1,000 or 100 or 50 or 20 or 5 or whatever amount that you want. And that person gets the funds immediately, and we take nothing from that. So they receive 100% of the donations.
That's awesome.
That's amazing. And just as a little midway part, how do people get onto Co-op 50/50? How can they start onto their crowdfunding journey?
Well, it's because we're a team crowdfunding system, you want to have somebody who is already a member, such as Russell, for example. Russell, what's your website once again, please?
Worldwidecrowdfunding.com. Worldwidecrowdfunding.com.
Right. So Russell is a member of co-op5050.com, but as a member, he has branded himself as worldwidecrowdfunding.com. So you can register with Russell, and once you register, you choose your donation that you want to give, and you go.
Amazing. And if you guys are watching us on Facebook or anywhere on social media, you can check down in the comments after the show, and I'm going to post the link to Russell's website, so you can just click that link and you can get all registered and start this and start being a giver and a receiver, which I'm still one of my favorite quotes on your website. I love that.
I trademarked that too.
Good. You should, because I would steal it otherwise.
Did you want to take a break here?
Sure, yeah. So we're going to go to a quick commercial break, and definitely stay tuned. Don't touch anything. We'll be right back. And stay right there, David.
I will.
Men and women are wanted for a new business on Main Street. The requirements are you must be self-directed, persistent, and have the willingness to succeed. If, after your difficult work, you succeed, a lifetime annual six-figure income is available. If interested, go to www.newbusinessonmainstreet.com. If you are despondent, broke, and not satisfied with life, then change your life. Go to newbusinessonmainstreet.com. If you are not happy, then change your life. To change your life, you must change your life. So go to newbusinessonmainstreet.com and change your life. Call 561-302-25. You're listening to today's edition of New Business on Main Street. To join the show, call in toll free 888-565-1470. Now, back to the business at hand. Here's Russell.
Awesome. And welcome back to New Business on Main Street. And we have our special guest, David-T-Rosen, here talking about Co-op 5050, a crowdfunding website that is probably the best system that I've ever heard of. That is the most giving, receiving. I love it so much. David, I want to ask you one question. So when I was on your website, I see a lot about Co-op Crowd. Is that the same as Co-op 5050? Is it a different name for it?
That's a different system. It's a rather interesting system. I'm not going to talk about that right now, but that is a different system. I'm going to save that for our next show because there's something wonderful that's about to happen.
No problem. Oh, I'm excited. Now it's a little bit of a cliffhanger for it. And on your website, I'm sorry, I'm just going to keep referring to it because I was reading it all day today. You have one of the most incredible stories, and I won't go into every detail of it, but it was one of those stories that it's David-T-Rosen.com, correct?
Yeah.
It is one of the most incredible entrepreneurial stories I've ever heard. The highs, the lows. You talk about how your failures only teach you, how your parents were your greatest mentors, and I was loving it. And you have a quote, if you don't mind me reading. You said, "I can transparently say I have experienced more failures than successes. However, I would not trade a single failure that I've been met with, as each has come bearing lessons." Can you talk about some of your failures and how they affected your successes?
Well, I've had some really major failures. In fact, probably my biggest failure was the first time that I created something that actually had an impact on the entire world, which was the loyalty program. Mm-hmm. And when I created that, I had the backing of all kinds of big companies. Actually, I had the backing of basically every major company on the planet. And I had all of these merchant banks and investment houses just throwing money at me, throwing offers at me. And if you've ever watched Shark Tank, yes. You've got the sharks up there, right? They're the ones with all the money. Mm-hmm. And then you have the guests that are making that pitch. So I was making the pitch, and everybody loved it. And they, I could have went from where I was to having a publicly traded company and just become a mega rich. However, they wanted 40% of the company, and I wanted to give up 20%. And the deals that I made with all of those major companies is that I would develop it for them. And in return, they would give me exclusivity for my card, which was called the wild card at the time. And they held up to their end, but I ended up losing. I ended up losing the company because I didn't hold up to my end. I didn't take the money that was being offered. I fell in love with my company, and I made a lot of mistakes. So that was my biggest mistake. And then, since then, I've made 1,000 mistakes. I make lots of mistakes today. You can't avoid mistakes. But the difference between a successful person and a not a successful person is that they learn from those mistakes. They learn a lesson from those failures. And the biggest lesson that you can learn as any budding entrepreneur is that you will never, ever, ever go through life without failures. Expect them. You're going to have way more failures than you are successes. Learn from them.
That, and I was hoping you were going to say that, because that is an amazing lesson, I think, to young entrepreneurs, young inventors, young creators, young, kids coding, is you're going to fail. You're going to fail so much, but you're going to learn something from every single failure. And to hear someone as successful as you talking about that and talking about your failures and how you brought them to your successes and brought them to your next company, I think is something so powerful. And thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
David, he was talking about last time to tackle the student loan problem.
Yes.
1.5 trillion.
I
mean, that's a big,
yes.
$1 trillion. Do you think you can put a dent in that, David?
Robbing us.
I think we can solve it.
Hello, you say you do what?
Sign me up. Click the button, Ross.
Listen, the student debt for me is one of my biggest pet peeves. I dropped out of high school, so I didn't finish business. But student debt, when I look at all of the young students in North America specifically, the people that are, they're leaving school, they got $20,000, $30,000, $50,000, $100,000 in student debt. When they finish school, they can't even afford to get a car. They can't afford to get a home. They can't afford to start their business because they're saddled with so much debt.
Oh, yes,
and student debt is the only debt that you have in North America that cannot be forgiven. So if you claim bankruptcy, your student debt, your student loan can't be a part of that. So it's just a really, really bad debt for our youth, our future to be saddled with. And I firmly believe, and there's some people that I've been looking at and I've been following over the course of the last couple of years, and I've watched what they've done. I've watched some really major players actually pay for the entire tuition of a graduating year, and great deeds like that. I'm going to be calling on those people because I believe not 50%, not 60%. I believe that 100% that my new system can eradicate student debt in North America. And yes, that is a big number of $1.5 billion.
That is absolutely incredible. And for someone with student debt, if you have, $70,000 in student debt, which a lot of people do, universities are so expensive. Just being able to create that system, or to be in the system that you've created, and having people continually, as you say, you just have to do it once or twice, give to people. You're continually in a rotation where people are passively giving back to your student debt. It's just a little bit, any little bit you can get off that plate is that little bit of weight off your shoulders, that little bit of, good, I can use this money towards, like you said, a car, towards rent, towards my bills. It is a huge relief to the youth of today. And there's a lot of people who are scared to go to university because they know, I can't carry that debt. And there's kids who's you inherit your parents' debt.
Right. Yeah. And education's changing too. So we're going to a lot more online education. There's a lot of great university courses that are available online, and many of them for free. If you go to if you type in MOOC into Google or Yahoo, it'll bring up something called massive online courses, and you can get all of the education that you want for free, and you can get accredited for it. So there's some really great stuff out there. So if you need education, you can get the education, because education is great. But don't saddle yourself with debt, because if you look outside your door, you walk in downtown, any downtown street, you're going to see as many people with a college degree, a master's degree, a bachelor's degree, flipping burgers as you are with people that don't have a degree. So a degree today doesn't guarantee a success. So you might want to look at things a little differently today.
That is so absolutely correct. And that is so, again, it's terrifying. And I wish I had known about that website before I went to school. I was like, I'm a theater student and now I'm doing a radio show. So that's where the
Hey,
degree
listen,
went.
I heard that.
I was a full thespian.
Yeah. And by the way, so it doesn't matter how old you are, right? I've got about 800 quotes, and it doesn't matter how old you are when you begin. No, it doesn't matter how young you are when you begin, or how old you are when you begin. And that's not the way the quote goes. But anyways, you're getting the picture. Is that right now, if you want to continue your education, you don't have to go through that formal education to get the education that you want. If you want to get a bachelor's degree, there's courses that you can take online. If you want to get a business degree, there's courses you can take online. So there's so much education that's out there and available to people, regardless of their age, regardless of the amount of money that they have. All you have to have is a connected device.
Exactly. And I can't tell you, I remember being in school and having, the adults in our classes, the 30, 40-year-olds trying to get their second degrees, trying to go back to school after kids. And I remember talking to them and them saying, it's so awkward, it's hard for them because you're in a class of, 18 to 22-year-olds. To have now this ability to get classes online, to be able to go to a crowdfunding site like yours and be able to raise the money to, if you want to go to that in-person university, you can still do that and you don't have to worry about, bills or everything, is incredible.
And the beautiful thing about these online courses is that if you're an adult, you have responsibility. You have bills that you need to pay. If you're going to school, you can't be working and paying your bills. Taking an online course allows you to continue doing the things that you need to do so that you can survive. Using a system like Co-op 50/50, this is allowing you to wake up your dreams, right? And that's why I build these systems, is to allow people to wake up their dreams, because it's not about me. And by the way, in that, even though I built the system, I created the system, I'm no different than you, I'm no different than Russ. If I don't do anything, guess what I'm going to get? Nothing. So I'm no different than anybody.
But I think you're smarter than me. Put yourself a little above.
No, listen, I'm no smarter than the next guy. I'm just probably a little more determined.
That's good. I didn't even think of that. Of you can be doing schooling and using Co-op 50/50 to help you stabilize yourself. I was just thinking of paying to go to school, but to help keep your dreams and stabilize your financial situation while doing school is a whole nother level of incredible.
Right.
50/50. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Russ, go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask you, in terms of 50/50 for next year, 2021, what kind of goals, objectives do you have for the organization?
Well, the goals for 50/50 in 2021 is to help 2.5 million people around the world. And let me tell you what I call that. I call that a good start.
I love it. I love that so much.
I heard that.
We've got so many people to help, so many needs out there. It's not just about businesses, right? It's not just about charities. It's about us. Like, think about it. I just mentioned 20% of the people in North America, in the United States of America right now, don't know how they're going to get their next meal. Forget about keeping a roof over their head. Forget about going to watch a movie. Forget about enjoying Christmas. They don't even know how they're going to. We need to make a dent and change that. So I'm going to keep working every single day until I've come up with solutions to help every person that's in need.
So what is his website again? You were saying David-T-Rosen?
Yes.
Go ahead.
So your website is david-t-rosen.com, correct?
Yeah, that's my blog. I've been so busy the last 6 months or so, I haven't even been keeping it up to date. But there's a lot of good articles that are on there that I've written over the years, and people find that to be rewarding and enlightening.
I absolutely love, like I said, I've been on it literally all day, all week actually, reading it because you have such an incredible story. Anyone listening on the radio, on social media, please check it out. Also, if you want to get involved with Co-op 50/50, this amazing system for crowdfunding, Russ's website is Worldwide Crowdfunding, correct?
.com.
worldwidecrowdfunding.com. And like I said, if you check us out on Facebook at New Business on Main Street on Facebook, in the comments, I'll have that linked so you can just click right there and get started. And thank you so much, David, for joining us again today.
my pleasure. I love it. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you everyone so much for listening. Thank you, Russ, for having me on again.
Well, thank you. Appreciate you being here.
And I hope everyone has a great night. Have a great drive home wherever you're going. And we'll see you next time.
Be safe.
You have been listening to New Business on Main Street with your host, Russell. If you have a business idea and want to share it on the air, call Russell directly at 561-302-2588. That's 561-302-2588. The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its hosts, guests, and callers, and not